So, what are we going to do with all this information? I'm going to the university, it's technology transfer time. Now, one of the things about this, and where we were when we decided to set up the company and did this, is that the information at this point, and excuse me, at that point, was very difficult to make a sale to the industry. It's just not far enough along. And I've worked a lot in technology transfer, and I have a recipe for it. And in other words, you work, when you're setting up a technology, you start at the market and you work backwards, you develop a technology that services the market. And a lot of my colleagues, they're way ahead of their time. They're developing things for markets that don't yet exist. And it's not, they're brilliant and they're coming up with some marvelous things, but there's a lot of things that are very difficult to do. Now, the peptides themselves, they had that problem. We had to get through to the other side. We have to find the markets for them, and we've taken a lot of work and a lot of good investment by by funding agencies to get to the other side. But I want to tell you something about how I feel about technology transfer. We always have this idea that there's going to be this technology transfer. It's going to be like a relay race. You see these diagrams, and they show them going one place over to another place to the next place. And the researcher here is just passing off the baton to the to industry, or the next stage in the technology transfer. It doesn't work that way. If the researcher lets go of that baton and doesn't help the next side, there will be a very much lower chance of the technology arriving at the other end of the thing, especially when you're dealing in the context that we're dealing. If I was handing that baton off to Cargill, sure, they can do it. They'll run off faster than I can possibly even came up with. But I'm supposed to be helping Saskatchewan industry. And what we have to do is we have to realize that the researcher is the source of information. They have to carry the baton. They have to take it a little bit further. And part of what we're doing with the Prairie Tides is we're trying to get this to the other side. And what is commonly called the Valley of Death. Because what we're trying to do in this technology transfer is get to the other side of this and figure out what we're going to do when we get the other side. Now, another problem. You want to hike through the Valley of Death? Are you going to pack up like this guy is? Here's a problem with researchers. They want to put everything. They want to carry it all across the Valley of Death. You can't carry that much stuff across the Valley of Death. You have to have focus. And one of the things that anybody who's in industry will realize, I have talked about solar panels. I've talked about LEDs. I've talked about drugs. I've talked about catalysts. You can't carry that much baggage across the Valley of Death. So we have what I hope is a successful business strategy. I hope to prove to you that it's an unfailable business strategy. So here's our business strategy in a nutshell. We're going to establish a presence. We're going to secure the IP that we've developed through the university. We're going to enhance that IP. We're going to work with other researchers and take it the next step. We're going to start working on trying to get the best secure supply of peptides. We're going to get secure markets. We're going to, with our technology, working with various groups, secure funding, and continue to work. So, establish a presence, web page, and here I am. Yeah, this is our web page. And you can go and see it. It's prairietide.com. Don't put www. For some reason that never gets there. And then we're going to secure IP. We're working with the university. We're trying to get IP from other agencies that might have worked on flax. We're looking at plants. There's genetic knowledge related to the peptides. There's plant varieties. There's processing methods. I developed the processing methods. There's use applications and composition matter. We're trying to gather all of that and get it into a package with the Prairie Tide. That's part of it. And it's not done yet. We're working with others and researchers to improve peptide technology. We're trying to take advantage of genetic knowledge that's being developed by things like ToughGen. We're looking at plant peptide synthesis, how these things are actually made. Perhaps we should be working with PBI, processing methods. Future work with funding with ADF. My research program has been very well supported by ADF. And mode of action, we'll probably be looking at funding from NSERC CRD.